You know that feeling when you're alone somewhere, and suddenly your brain starts telling you that you're not. Not because you heard something, not because you saw something, but because the silence itself feels wrong. That's the only way I can explain what happened to me during my night shift at the office. And to this day, I still don't know if the person they arrested that night was actually the thing I saw. Let me explain. My name is Jamie Carter, and about 2 years ago, I worked as a junior IT technician for a small software company in Chicago. It wasn't a glamorous job. Most of the time, I was just fixing computers, resetting passwords, or crawling under desks to plug cables back in. But once every few weeks, I had to take the night shift. That meant staying in the office until around 2 or 3 in the morning to run system updates on the company servers. The building itself wasn't huge. 3 floors, mostly open office space, a few conference rooms, and a small server room at the end of the hallway. During the day, the place was loud, phones ringing, keyboards clicking, people talking. But at night, it was completely silent. The only sounds were the hum of the air conditioning and the quiet whirring of the servers. At first, I actually liked the night shifts. No bosses, no meetings, just me, some coffee, and a quiet building. But one night, something happened that made me question whether I was ever really alone in that office. It was a Thursday, around 1:40 in the morning. The update I was running was taking forever, so I leaned back in my chair and checked my phone. That's when I heard it. A sound, soft, like something scraping lightly against the floor. At first, I didn't think much of it. Old buildings make noises all the time. Pipes expand, air vents rattle. But then it happened again. Scrape, pause, scrape. This time it sounded closer. I looked down the hallway outside my office. The lights were still on, but the corridor felt darker than usual. Empty, quiet, too quiet. I stood up and listened. Nothing, just the faint hum of the air conditioning. I told myself it was probably just a chair shifting somewhere, or maybe the cleaning crew downstairs. But something about the sound didn't sit right with me, so I grabbed the small flashlight I kept in my desk drawer. Part of my job sometimes meant checking cables behind server racks, and the lighting back there was terrible. The flashlight wasn't very big, but it was bright enough to cut through the darkness. I stepped out into the hallway. The motion sensor lights flickered slightly as I moved. The corridor stretched out in front of me. On the left side were rows of empty cubicles. On the right side were conference rooms with glass walls. Everything looked normal. Still, that feeling wouldn't go away, the one that makes the back of your neck feel cold, like someone is standing just behind you, watching. I walked slowly toward the end of the hallway where the server room was. That's when I heard the sound again. Scrape. But this time, it came from inside the server room. I stopped walking. The door to the server room was slightly open, just a few inches, and I knew for a fact I had closed it earlier. The servers inside that room were expensive. Leaving the door open was something we were specifically told not to do. I stood there staring at the crack in the door. My heart started beating a little faster. Maybe someone from maintenance came in, I thought. Maybe another IT tech stopped by. But that didn't make sense. Nobody else was scheduled that night. Still holding the flashlight, I slowly pushed the door open. The server room was mostly dark, except for the blinking lights from the racks of machines. Red lights, green lights, tiny reflections bouncing off metal surfaces. The room smelled of warm electronics. I stepped inside. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. The flashlight beam moved across the racks, cables, fans, nothing unusual. Then I heard it again, scrape. But this time, it came from the far corner of the room, behind one of the server racks. I slowly raised the flashlight and pointed it toward the corner. At first, I didn't see anything, just shadows between the equipment. Then the beam moved slightly to the left, and that's when I saw it. A shape, low to the ground, like someone crouching, perfectly still. My brain froze for a second because the shape didn't move. It didn't react to the light. It just stayed there in the corner, watching. I couldn't see a face, just a dark outline. My heart was pounding now. "Hey," I said. Still nothing. And then, suddenly, the shape moved, fast, not toward me, but deeper into the darkness behind the server racks. That was enough for me. I turned and ran out of the room. The hallway suddenly felt 10 times longer than before. My footsteps echoed as I rushed toward the elevators. I didn't even look back. My brain was screaming that someone had been hiding in that room, someone who wasn't supposed to be there. I slammed the elevator button. Nothing happened. Of course, the elevator had probably gone into night mode. The doors stayed closed. For a second, I just stood there in silence. Then I heard something behind me, a faint metallic sound, like something shifting in the hallway. I slowly turned around. The corridor was empty, but near the end of the hallway, the lights flickered, just once, then again, and I swear, for a split second, I thought I saw movement near the server room door. My chest tightened. The elevator finally made a soft ding. The doors slid open. I jumped inside and immediately hit the button for the lobby. As the doors started to close, I shined the flashlight down the hallway one last time. The beam stretched across the empty corridor, and just before the doors shut completely, I thought I saw something move at the far end, something stepping slightly into the light. Then the doors closed. When the elevator reached the lobby, I went straight to the security desk and told the guard what happened. At first, he thought I was joking, but when he saw how serious I was, he called the police. About 10 minutes later, 2 officers arrived. We all went back upstairs together. This time, the lights were fully on. Everything looked normal. The officers checked the server room first, and after about a minute, one of them called out. They had found someone, a man named Greg Thompson. Apparently, he used to work for the company months earlier before being fired. Somehow, he had gotten into the building and been hiding in the server room. They took him away in handcuffs. The officers asked him why he was there, but he didn't say much, just kept staring at the floor. They never got a clear answer about what Greg was planning to do in that room. Maybe sabotage the servers, maybe steal data, maybe something else. But before the officers left, one of them asked me to walk through the hallway again and show them exactly where I had seen the shape earlier. I really didn't want to, but I did. We went back into the server room. The lights were fully on now. No shadows, no dark corners, just rows of machines. I pointed to the spot where I had seen the shape crouching earlier. The officer frowned. Then he said something strange. He looked at the spot and then pointed deeper into the room. He said, "Greg wasn't hiding there. We found him all the way back behind those racks." For a moment, I just stood there, because if Greg wasn't where I saw that shape earlier, then what exactly had I seen crouching in that corner? And sometimes, when I think back to that night, I remember something else. When I shined my flashlight during the elevator moment, I thought I saw something step into the hallway, but the officers told me Greg never left the server room, which means whatever moved in that hallway was never caught. And to this day, I still can't walk through an empty office building at night without feeling like something is watching me. Tell me in the comments, what do you think Jamie actually saw in that server room? Because honestly, I'm not sure I want to know.